Well, Emma is here in the studio now alongside Haj Ghali, a recovering gambling addict and campaigner. So good to have you in the studio. Thanks so much for coming in, and Emma, of course, as well. Haj, where should we start? Because the report that Emma's brought us tonight is a very familiar story to you. When did your gambling addiction start?
So my gambling addiction started shortly after I left university in 2009.
So young?
Well, you say it's young, but I think it's getting like that now. So it literally started off as a simple thing with a couple of friends, went into a casino, started playing blackjack, and I turned £20 into £60 within 30 minutes. So in my mind, I'm like, this is quick, easy, fun.
Feel invincible.
And free. You know what I mean? So this is free money. So that, I think, was the start of my downfall.
How quickly did that downfall come about? Because you got into £250,000 worth of debt.
Yeah, so within a year, I had a bit of money because I'd started up a business which I sold. But in 1 year, I'd gambled away £60,000. But then I realised that, I need to make this money back or pay some of these debts. So I started a corporate world. But when I got my first paycheck, I didn't see that as money to pay my debts back. It was money to basically bankroll my addiction. So come high or hell, every month I was getting a bankroll. And there'll be times where I'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, where somebody might wake up at 6, and I've gambled away a month's worth of wages even before someone has woken up. And that was at least some reality of my life.
And then you feel like you got to chase it back and try and make that money back. I mean, that was something I was hearing from Kiki, and you have this kind of, you think you've got a plan, don't you? And you've got a pattern of your gambling. I mean, I know that was the same for you as it was for Kiki.
Yeah, at first it starts off like a game of luck, right? Oh, I like that colour, I like that number. Then it becomes a case of, I know that racer, I know this trainer, I know this, I know that, I know these scores. So you start to try to make better bets in the light that you might be able to win, or you did this differently. But the truth was, gambling was consuming every minute of my day, from waking up, booking meetings, staying behind, the lies, the secrecies, because they talk about compulsive gambling, but they don't talk about the compulsive line that comes with it.
How long did this go on for?
So this carried on for 12 years, and the exact date where I had to face D-Day with my wife was the 16th of June, 2020. We hit the pandemic. I remember this day in the morning. My wife is in our room, and I remember her looking up at me with these eyes of pure disappointment. And there it was, black and white. I had a hidden account, and there it was, black and white, just transactions after transactions. You're talking tens of thousands of pounds.
I mean, you've just told us the scale of your gambling addiction, and like you said, the lies, your wife had no idea up until that point. And what was the effect on you both? Because it had a really profound effect on you, to the point where you couldn't see a way out and drove into a central reservation.
So I'm quite fortunate where my wife still stuck through me, and it was actually my father-in-law, which is unheard of from a South Asian community, that said, we need to help him. And because of that, my wife still stuck by me, but we need to get professional help. I turned to my faith, and I felt rejected from them, and I felt angry at them. But as I went through the recovery, I started with NHS. But the problem with NHS was my first meeting was all online, because I couldn't do it in person because we'd gone in lockdown. I'm in a group setting, and I was saying to you before, wasn't I, that 1, it was all male, 2, they were all white, and 3, they were all 40 plus. And to layer on top of that, my therapists were all white as well. So in my head, I'm like, do you actually understand me, my culture, my background, and what I'm going through? Because let's be honest with you, there's different cultural and societal differences. So you might be able to...
shames that come with that. I mean, Emma, that's what you've uncovered in this reporting. When we think of gambling addiction, it's predominantly older white men, or so we believe. That is the stereotype. But, you know, Haj is here, you know, sitting here as proof that that is not the case, and that's what you found, this whole hidden world.
Indeed, and I think with Kiki, that was exactly what she said. She thought, well, I can't be a gambling addict. You know, you think that these are white men in the bookies drinking a pint. She looked up online. She saw people who were remortgaging their home, getting into enormous amounts of debt. She was doing 10p spins, 20p spins. She was on benefits. She was borrowing money from friends. You know, she wasn't that kind of person. And yet, quite clearly, it had a complete hook on her. But then when she ultimately, in the end, got into that whole recovery cycle, which, of course, will last forever, but began that, you know, she didn't see anyone like her. And for her, that really mattered. that really mattered. The phrase she wanted someone who looked like her or sounded like her, who could understand her background. I mean, why is that so important?
Yeah, because you said that amongst your community, the South Asian community, the Sikh community, you were talking about drug and alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
That was spoken about, but not gambling.
No, because you can't see it. And I think even with addictions, I think this is not just South Asian, I think this is ethnic minorities where look, we don't gamble as much as, say, the white counterparts, but the ones that do are up to 5 times more likely to suffer severe harms. And the thing with that is I think it's that cultural difference is, what's my parents going to think about it? And I think there's this big sheer... I think this word that we use in our culture, which is called sharm and izzat, which means shame and honour. So if our family finds out about this, well, are they going to talk to us? Our community are not going to talk to us. And even worse, will they speak to our parents or will they speak bad about us? So that was happening to me, and I felt like, actually, I don't want this to go out because I don't want my family or the people around me to get in the same place that I was, and that led me to a very, very dark path.
Harsh, how are you doing now? Because the thing with addiction, when you talk about drugs and alcohol, you know, people always describe themselves as a recovering addict. That label of addict never leaves them. Is it the same with gambling? How do you manage it now?
I think my turning point was when, on the 18th of August, when I tried to temper my own life because that's the way I saw it out. But I was fortunate where my son, Jeevan, saved my life because his name means life in our language. But for that really was, I found my purpose, was when I started going out there on social media and saying, I'm Harsh Ghale, I'm a recovering gambling addict, this is my story. I've helped more than 200 people start their journey to recovery. I've stopped 12 people from taking their own life. So when you talk what drives me, my purpose drives me. So I wake up with drive, with purpose, but I'm a human being. Like recently, and I've had my ups and downs, and I think it's almost like this saying, you always remember your first. It doesn't go away from you, but you've got to learn to make other things a priority in your life, so that never shows up. But we're human beings, but I now have a support network that I can reach out to.
Oh, well, by talking about it so openly, as you said, you know, you've helped hundreds of people personally, and just by doing this interview and putting it out there, and Emma, with your reporting as well, it goes some way to sort of addressing that stigma and trying to give people the courage to get help. Harsh, thank you so much for coming to tell us your story. I really appreciate your time. Emma, thank you as well. Thanks so much. Well, if you've been affected by this story, you can contact the Samaritans. 116123 is their number, or you can email them at any time, joe@samaritans.org. And you can also reach out to the National Gambling Helpline. They are on 0808 8020 133, and their website, gamecare.org.uk. It's on your screen.